Alright, good morning everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a poker machine in Minecraft. I actually have another video where I built an entire casino. We were going through adding different machines, and I wanted a machine that was able to deal out some cards, and we were able to do some map art to get the actual playing cards in Minecraft, and then we actually went a step further and designed a redstone machine that's able to deal those cards and then do the big blind, the small blind, and then also go through and give the dealer 3 cards for the flop, 1 card for the turn, and 1 card for the river. So I'm going to go ahead and take you guys through the process and show you how we did that. So sit back, enjoy the video, and let me know how it goes. Alright, I'm going to cut over to the Minecraft now and show that off. So let's go check it out. Oh, I don't know if the server's up. Hold up. I made backups this morning, so this is real awkward. Oh, that's spoilers for later. This is the entirety of the redstone build, and it can be condensed down quite a bit. You can actually see the scale of this thing and the amount of redstone components that go into this. And then each one of these paths, these different color codes, they each do something different. And we're going to go through every single one of them, kind of just show off what they do. Some of them are really easy, and then some of them are like this one here. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. I guess we can start with just showing it off. Alright, in here I have shovels. So I have shovels shuffling in, and then currently the cards are shuffling in a circle. And then we had 52 in here. But they automatically fill in, and then you can see that the deck is currently still shuffling. They're going around. This is just a placeholder item, obviously, because we don't have the cards in the creative world. But I assure you there are 52 in here, and they are going in a circle. So the way this works is if you want to join the game or leave the game, you just have to click a button. And then you got to give it a second. It's redstone, so you know it needs to think. All right, so right now we have 2 players in the game right now, and then whenever we're ready to play, you can click deal in a second. All right, you'll hear the clicking, and then it goes around again. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And there's 4. So each player that's in the game right now got 2 cards. And then you do your hand. Once you're done, you put the cards back in here. So we only did 4. So the 2 players are still in the game. And then this player over here wants to join. Cool. So their light comes on. And now there's 3 players in the game. This player was the big blind the first time. Not anymore. So I can rotate the blinds. It's going to go from him. So this skips over this guy because he's not in the game, and then it goes to this guy because he is in the game. And then we're going to go ahead and click deal again, and then give it a second. First round of clicking, nothing. There's 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. So there's all 6 cards for the 3 players. And then again, I can just add in another player. The count goes up. They're in the game, count goes up to 4, and then I can add in another player, count goes up, sorry, he's in the game, count goes up by 1, so now there's 5, and then you can have up to 7 total. Has all the cards, everyone's in the game. Oh, we can also rotate the blind again. So now this guy will go to him, and then we can rotate the blind again, goes to him this time because he's in the game, skips over him, goes to him. The dealer wants 3 cards for the flop. And then there's the 3 cards. So 1, 2, and 3. And then the turn, I can ask for 1 more. And then I'll get 1. And then for the river, I can flip the same button and get 1 more in a moment. There we go. There it is. There's all 5 cards. And then once all cards have been collected, the dealer can just put them in this discard pot, in this barrel. And it goes to discard, and then it gets shuffled back in with the rest of the deck. So now we're going to go through everything one thing at a time. I broke out and I tested everything beforehand, so you're going to see each subsystem add together. So let's start going through the systems and see how everything works. Looking out here, this is an insane place to start. So I think a better place to start would be right over here. If you look up poker machines online, a lot of times you'll get this one. This system was a phenomenal introduction and a good start, but it had things that I wanted that it didn't have. And one of the things with this table that I didn't like was you need a dedicated dealer. Like, all you have to do is click this button, you'll get a card here, and then you can play these cards one at a time. And then once all the cards are done, you toss it in. That's how the game works. It's really good, actually, for a really convenient short build. I would highly recommend this one. I'll find out which one it is and put it in the description as well. Again, the issue was you had to have a dedicated dealer. You had to have someone sitting here collecting and handing out the cards continuously. Not something that I wanted to do. This is where I got the sorting system for the cards. This is where the shuffler's at. That's where I got this idea from. You can actually see it right there. That is this system right here. Next thing, I kind of wanted a bigger table. I kind of went through a couple different iterations and a lot of different deleted projects, but this is ultimately what we came down to. So yeah, one of the things that this table had was you had to keep track of the blind, and there was no way to actually do that. So I wanted to add in some redstone lamps to do that. So we kind of jumped in between different tables on what to do, but again, this is the final design we went with to get the blinds in there. So then I had to figure out, how do I get the blinds to light up so we know who is the big blind. Okay. I'm explaining this terribly. Oh man. Okay, so this is how the blinds work. It comes across these target blocks are in position, so the redstone signal is constantly looped right here. There's a loop right here in redstone, right? So this signal came in from this side into this block, powering this redstone repeater, powering this lamp, comes out of the lamp, powers this redstone line, goes to each target block. Okay? This target block then sends a signal this way, blocking this signal, not allowing the redstone signal to continue through. It also sends a signal this way, through this redstone, locking this one, not allowing it to go through. So it's just in a continuous loop right here. Once you click this button, the two target blocks will go back, unlocking this one. The redstone signal will come out, go around, go through this one more time, come out, go through this redstone repeater into this block, powering the next set. Okay, with that all established, this one is not powered right now, so this signal is not locked, sending a pulse down here, keeping this torch off. These two target blocks are not forward, so the redstone signal will come in, it's not locked here, so it's going to just continue straight through going into the next player. This one is locked, so we're going to have the same thing that happened there right here. So let's see it live. There it is. Skip that one, straight to this one. Now it's locked. Now it's doing the continuous loop right here. You can see the target blocks right there. It's really condensed, so I do apologize. But it's the exact same system using the target blocks. So you can see it's actually going reversed on this way. The blinds go left to right. So you can see that the target blocks are extended. The signal's going into this redstone repeater, this one, and then there's the loop. I use torches right here, and then because this signal's lit right now, this torch is off, and it uses this redstone spike here to send the signal all the way up into the player chamber where this player is on the big blind. Now that I have a list of the blinds, I also needed a way to find out how many players are in the game to know how many cards to deal. So I needed a way to count that. And this was the first time I actually had to figure out how to count in Minecraft. I needed the game to output a signal to tell me how to count. And this was my initial design on how to do it, and I was kind of base it on redstone signal. So when you throw in another lamp, the signal goes up to 2. You throw in another one, it goes up to 3, and then another one. And this was my initial plan, and I couldn't think of a way to get all of these a signal down here where it made sense, at least something that was going to be small enough. So I ended up looking up like different counters and different systems, and I ended up coming across one of these ones. This is the only portion of the build that we are going to talk about. This is all that it is used for counting. So the way this works, whenever you want to add a player, you click this button. It sends a double pulse. The observer block looks for changes in a block status. So there's a block status update with one click, and when the button comes out, there's another update. So there's 2 signals total. When you want to add another player, it checks for both updates. There's 1, and there's 2. And you can see that this redstone torch flickers, right? So this torch sends a signal into this block. This block is what's locking this hopper right here. So it sends 2 signals, so it sends 2 items, and I can just show you manually here. So there's going to be 4 up here. So right now there are none in here. We send 2 signals, so it's going to unlock that hopper twice. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 2 items in this chest. Alright, so now with 2 items in the chest, there is 1 player, and then we can do it again. Sends 2 more items. There's 1, there's 2, and there's the second player. And then when you want to remove it, it does the same thing on the other side, and it just goes to this hopper instead. And what it does is, the way it's looped is it goes through these hoppers. I have a auto dispenser which will dispense items into this water stream straight up and over back into this top chest, so you're never losing any items. Alright, 2 items. There's 1. There's 2. And then, yes, you can count all the way up to as many as you want. It doesn't have to stop right here. You can throw in double chests. It doesn't have to be a single chest. This system is pretty expandable. As far as the count goes, I only needed 7 players, so I only gave it 7 lights. So yeah, you can expand on this as much as you need. Okay, so now with all the players in the game, we got the blinds sorted out. I needed a way to... I have 2 locations for this in the build, right? So I needed one for the actual counter at the top, and then I needed another one to count the players down below. So this is the one viewable by the players. So you can see right here, there are currently 5 players in the game. So you can see that there's 10 items in the chest right now. So that gets observed by this comparator, and then sends the signal up, showing how many players. The other one of those is down here. And that's just so that the cards that are getting dealt, which we'll go over this system in a minute, this is how we do that. So I have the counter here. This comparator tells how many players are in the game, and it's the exact same as the one up there. Keeping these 2 in sync has been the biggest issue, but it works just fine. That kind of also leads into the next question of how does me clicking this button remove it there, and then clicking it again re-add it. Okay, so this is the exact same system up there. It's just broken down so we can see it more smoothly. There is the ground right here, so that is basically the build just in 2D. So it's a double pulse, so that this sticky piston is able to push the item but not pull the redstone item back. So when we click it, it's going to activate, pushing this sticky piston, which pushes this observer. This observer sees an update, sends a single pulse into this redstone line, sending it up. Pushing this for another single pulse, so the redstone block goes there. And then it pulls it back, so the observer comes back, and it doesn't see, this redstone doesn't see the second update to this, so there's only a single pulse. That's what it's talking about when it's doing a single pulse. When you click the button on the observer, it also powers the observer, right? Powering this piston below. This piston is a full pulse, so it'll send this observer forward for this first signal update, sending a single pulse into this sticky piston. This sticky piston then pushes this redstone block, sending a signal downwards. Okay, that signal downwards powers this redstone line, which tells the blind system, the big or small blind system, if they are in or out of the game. So we have player that's in right here on the left. This close one on the left is in, and the one on the right is out. With the player on the right that's out, this block is back, and this block is extended, okay? So it's powering this line right now. And then on the inverse, this player's in, so this block is forward, and then this block is away from the redstone torch. So down here, the blind system, here he is. So the power line comes down, negating these, so now these pistons can operate normally, okay? This one, on the other hand, this player's in the game, so that block is retracted. So this torch does not have a redstone signal, allowing this redstone torch to always be on, keeping these pistons extended. Whenever the player comes around, this piston will operate correctly, and it'll cycle through. Okay, so we can see this with that redstone torch lit back there, and then this one unlit. Okay, so you're going to see it skip right over that one. And the redstone signal is going to send a signal in the back here, going all the way around. It's going to come around to this one, and then it's going to send a signal into this redstone repeater, turning off this torch momentarily, allowing these to cycle. Problem is, this signal is already on, keeping this torch off, so it's telling them that this player is not in the game. We got it. We figured it out. That is how that works. Alright, cool. So we can see that. We can see it up here. Same thing. The redstone signal, that block is forward, so the redstone signal, it goes down over here, keeping this redstone torch off, telling the game, hey, he's not in, and that is the blue line. The blue line is how you cycle through the blinds. How do you go to the next blind? Additionally, on this side system, I needed a way to develop a system where clicking in and out also removes and adds onto that stack. So that uses the green and the yellow lines. So I have 5 total, just to delay the system long enough for it to think. Another repeater seeing this redstone line, so it's going to get activated twice, right? Once when it gets turned on, once when it gets turned off. Damn it. Take 3. So, after the player joins the game, it'll power this, send a single pulse into this, activating this redstone repeater line. This redstone repeater line goes through 5 4-tick delay repeaters, activating this redstone line right here. This redstone line activates. It'll activate a single pulse on the observer. The observer then pushes the piston and pulls it back immediately. So this observer does not power this redstone. Then this gets shut off, sending another pulse into this piston. This piston then pushes the observer back, powering this piston. This piston then does a single pulse because it's on the observer. The single pulse will push this redstone block to the other side. So the green and the yellow line basically just send a signal to add or remove players. This piston will go into this observer. This observer will get pushed forward momentarily, powering this and powering this observer. This observer gets seen by this observer, this observer, this observer, all the way down. Send a single pulse for the first time this piston gets pushed this way. It'll send a pulse into this line. All this block does is block a signal going left or right, and I'll show you which one does which. What ends up happening is then when this piston cycles back, it'll send another signal down, sending a second pulse. So that's 2 pulses that we need to remove or add players. All players have their own dedicated green line that goes into this system right here, which cycles this hopper to add or remove a player. And then same thing for the yellow line. The yellow comes through, goes up and over to remove a player from the line. When a player leaves the game, it'll come through the yellow line, activating this one, putting the item into this hopper, which goes up and over, and that's how people get removed from the game. So green is add, yellow is removed. That is that same system, just down here, so I can visualize it a little bit better. Oh, here is that dual pulse system that I was talking about. So this is the redstone signal. So once for activated, once for off. And you can see, depending on if the piston is up or down, it locks the system. So now it'll go to the one on the left, on and off. So I get the double pulse that I needed for the green and the yellow to add and remove players into this system. So before I jump into the card dealing, I'm going to quickly talk about how I set up each individual player and how the system delivers the cards to the players. A minecart gets loaded up with whatever cards you needed, gets sent into the system. This then routes the minecart over these hoppers. These hoppers are going to be locked or unlocked depending if the player is in or out of the game. This is the system that we use to get the cards up. It's the exact same system here. So whenever you throw an item into this dropper line, it gets observed by this comparator, sends a signal out, sends it into this observer line. So these are just observers. And then this is another observer. This observer looks at this observer. So this observer line goes up. This observer line sends the signal this way. So as you can see, it just sends the signal to the back of this one, which powers the dropper, then sends the signal up. So again, you throw an item in here, it goes up, and then it goes into or just dispenses it right onto the floor depending on what you need. Exact same thing up here. It goes into this hopper. This hopper pushes it into this dispenser. Once the dispenser goes through, it gets activated by this activator rail, which then sends a signal up here. So I have this not gate set up to see if the player's in or out of the game. So right now this player's in the game because there's not a signal coming down. If there was a signal, this would be powered if they were not in the game. Activator rail gets activated, sends a signal up, turns this torch off, which now turns off this redstone line. So this comparator can send a signal out from this torch. This torch will then activate this observer. This observer will send a signal up. These observers will observe that signal, and then it goes into this dropper line, which then sends the item up. So that is how the hoppers all work together with the dropper line to send the items up. The next issue I had was, how do I give out the correct number of cards? And I needed a way to kind of implement two different systems in the same go. One of the main systems that we utilized to do this was this memory system. I think I can call it that. So obviously this chest has a comparator here sending out a specific signal which tells how many players are in the game, right? So I use this system right here to give cards based on players. So I have two observers facing upwards sending a line into this for however many players I need. So this chest has two axes in here right now. So because there's two, this sends out a signal of 2. So I have one set of observers up right now. We're just going to go over this real quickly. All it does is it has this observer observing how many items are in this chest, which sends a signal out, which tells this system how many to keep up or down. We have 7 players sitting at the table, so we need 14 cards total. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. It's observing how many players are sitting at the table right now. 8 total items, so that's 4 total players. So for 4 players, you need 8 cards. So 2, 4, 6, 8. That is how that system works. So basically, whenever you want to deal, and that's what this blue line is, it picks an item from the back of here, goes down over into locking this comparator, temporarily shuts it off. So all of these will go down. And then when the button comes off, it'll unlock this comparator, sending all these items up. And since it's all in a row, you're going to get them in order. Well, let me show you that live here. So we can click deal, shuts it all off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There it is. You should see 8 total cards in the system. And then it goes out to get issued to all the players and then sent up. Now I have 8 players in, I have 4 players in, so we're going to add in 1 more player. Let's just add in this guy. So there it is. 2 more cards to be played because there are now 5 players in. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. This system's actually really easy. It didn't go easily. Yeah, all I have is these redstone rails, because this is an instant signal source. It's separated in between observers between each row here, just so it can see all the way over to here how many cards are getting issued. This observer sends a signal into this dropper, which pushes it into this chest, which then goes into this hopper, which then goes into the minecart that is used to issue the cards around. So I had an issue where I was getting cards when a player would join a game. Obviously, when a new player joins the game, it sends a signal because these two observers go into position, right? When you click deal, it'll send a pulse this way, pushing this piston, extending this observer into this piston. This piston will quickly push this rail, allowing for the redstone signals to be received. It also powers this, triggers this comparator, shuts this entire line off. All players that are in the game get cards. The players that are not in the game, these do not get powered. The power line stops here, so these two cards don't get dealt because there's not enough power in this line to get down to here. The signal then gets sent down this redstone repeater line right here, shutting off every single one of those comparators, sends a signal down, and then loops all the way back. This loop has enough delay to go up through here, reseating this redstone repeater line, and then additionally powering this redstone line because all of the cards got dealt into this dropper line down into this minecart to play the cards. Also, it'll send a power into this brown line, the counter, to see how many times the minecart has gone into a circle. All this brown line does is once this first detector rail sees the minecart pass by, it sends a double pulse into this hopper, allowing this hopper to push the items over here. Once it gets the second one, this redstone signal will be low enough to activate this line, switching direction of this rail, sending the minecart back so it's not going in a loop forever. So, the other side. This side is the exact same as this side, right? So this is for the dealer though. This is easy because the dealer only ever needs 3 cards. So whenever the dealer clicks flop, it'll go down this orange line, activating this short signal here, sending 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, from this hopper into this chest, and then straight up this hopper line, which then gets dispensed into this hopper line, which then comes over into this redstone signal that gets sent upwards into the dealer's hands. The pink line, all the pink line does is when you click on turn or river, it'll send a single pulse, activates once, sends the signal down when you click the button, activating this piston, pushing it, powering this line one time, sending just one dropper line into this chest, into this, back up, all the way over to the dealer. Alright, I think I got everything. There's a lot of systems in this. I more or less just broke it down. These are all my like troubleshootings and all the iterations. Oh yeah, here's one of the hopper lines. We were talking about that earlier. But yeah, this is all the redstone systems kind of broken apart individually so I could test them, play with them, see how they worked, and then get them working the way I wanted to and needed to get this system online. You can kind of see how it's all kind of came together into one giant build. This took, and I'm not even exaggerating, probably 2, maybe 3 days of me just sitting in front of a computer just trying to figure out how to do this. This system took a long time. Really proud on how it came out, and I'm going to try to throw some clips in here of me troubleshooting because I have a lot of hours of me working with things, and I want to show them off. So hopefully I explained this good enough. Alright guys, it's Dom in post-editing, and I did not realize how long this video was going to be, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I'm going to show a quick time lapse of the playing cards because that is, I'm not even exaggerating, 20 hours of my life that I spent building those. So I'm going to show that off, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. So go ahead and like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching the entire video, and then I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. did it. Light build.